Hi, I'm Magda from Interiors Exteriors. In this episode, I'll show you an extraordinary apartment built on top of an old tenement house. How is that possible? I'll tell you in a moment.
Hi, I'm Ola.
Hi, I'm Mateusz. We have been living here for 2 years in an attic apartment with our daughter Julia and our dog Moy.
The idea for this apartment came from the fact that we didn't want a typical developer apartment, which already had a predefined space. We were looking more for something that would allow us to create our own space, tailored more to our needs.
Ola and Mateusz bought an attic and then renovated it. It sounds simple, but it definitely wasn't. It involved raising the roof or actually building it from scratch. There was a whole lot of paperwork and a difficult construction site because it wasn't in a field, but on top of a historic tenement house. But the owners themselves will tell you best about how it all looked and what adventures came with it in the next episode. Today, we'll show you the results of this extension and the beautiful, comfortable apartment that was created. 69 SQM plus 31 SQM mezzanine. We start, as usual, at the entrance, and right here we have a large closet. Notice that it's the same color as the door, and inside it's illuminated because dark interiors like this tend to make it harder to see what's inside, so it's especially worth adding lighting in this case. There are construction drawers at the bottom, and yet there's also a tray for everyday shoes because it's just more convenient that way. Let's move on, and here an impressive space opens up before us with the living room and kitchen. In the central part, there are stairs leading to the mezzanine, where you'll find a bedroom with a walk-in closet and a children's room. Pay attention to the lighting in this space. We not only have windows on the exterior wall, which, with their unusual wide shape and divisions that match the townhouse, already make this apartment feel unique, but we also have additional Velux roof windows, the sponsor of today's episode, which let in a lot of light to make the space more comfortable to live in. Take a look at the archival photos from the construction before these windows were installed. There's a difference. The roof windows beautifully light the space. We'll come back to them later, but for now, let's take a look at how this place has been arranged. Here we have a clear division into zones, the living area, the dining area, and the kitchen, and each of them is characterized by a different type of lighting. In the kitchen, we have a lot of lights, both up high and lower down under the mezzanine, which illuminate the countertop well. It's very important when preparing meals. Above the table, we have a simple lamp that lights up the table. Meanwhile, in June, in the lounge area, we have diffused light from 2 lamps passing through decorative lampshades. Between the windows, 2 canvases with works made by the owners have been hung. It's a bit of a souvenir from the renovation and a bit of an opportunity for artistic expression. See what beautiful things you can create on canvas with putty. If you're looking for decorations, instead of buying something from the store, it's often better to make something yourself. Those pieces are small, but here on the wall with the table, a large painting is going to appear. And that's how it is with art in our homes, whether it's made by us, bought or given as a gift. It needs time, and it's worth giving yourself that time. We will come across various pieces that will delight us, and it's good to have a place at home to display them in the future. Decorating an apartment is also a process. And just like we eventually finish a renovation and the topic is closed, adding decorations to our home can be spread out over many, many years, so we can keep enjoying it. In the kitchen, we have beautiful veneered fronts, which were also quite a challenge because the carpenter lost the color sample and made the kitchen in a completely different color, very close to red. Well, it couldn't stay like that. It was completely against the plan. We couldn't recover the original sample, nor could we recreate it again. And ultimately, a color was chosen that is also beautiful. I don't know about you, but I really like it. As for the functional layout, here we have a refrigerator and a freezer. Here, the oven is placed low, And above it, there's a cabinet left in a size that would allow for a built-in coffee machine in the future. Next is the sink with a drawer containing bins underneath. Here we have a corner cabinet, and here are drawers. Importantly, the drawers have hidden drawers inside. And here the spices are beautifully arranged. Next is the dishwasher, and here are also drawers. Look how the dishwasher opens. It only blocks the bottom drawer. Here, you can open all the others, so it's easy to unload. There's also a wine fridge at the end here. However, I'd like you to take a look at the floor because there's also a cautionary story connected to it. Everything was measured very precisely. And then the carpenter, while preparing the kitchen, called to ask if the countertop could have a slightly different size. A few centimeters, saying it shouldn't interfere with anything and would make these countertops much easier. I don't really know why, but the question was asked, well, a few centimeters probably won't make a big difference. Okay. And it turned out during installation that just like here with the countertop organization, it really didn't matter. But when it came to the floor, it turned out to be crucial because shifting the countertop by a few centimeters made this one further away, and the wooden floor ended up in the kitchen, even though according to the design, it shouldn't have. And this isn't the first time I'm sharing a similar story with you, and luckily this one isn't too painful because it's just the floor. Similar situations happen, for example, when the radiator is moved just a little bit. So the washing machine won't fit after, right? Or various similar mishaps that are much more troublesome, and sometimes you have to fix them, which obviously means extra costs. Here, fortunately, it doesn't affect your daily life. But remember this, when the contractor, carpenter, tiler, or anyone else calls you during the renovation, really think 3 times before you say that a few centimeters don't make a difference. The initial idea for the stairs was simply to make them semicircular, but without a concrete screed, it wouldn't be that easy, because putting too much weight on one point, the support point, could simply cause the floor to bend. So, to distribute the weight over more points, the design was completely changed, and fortunately we managed to find contractors who made these stairs beautifully. And now I invite you upstairs. Upstairs, there's a children's room and a bedroom with a walk-in closet, and first I'll invite you here. In the bedroom, the bed plays the main role. And it's a wooden bed from a chain store, very simple, to which upholstered elements and a headboard were added, making it unique. In this spot, the ceiling is slanted both ways, so there was a dilemma about how to hang the lamp. You could possibly hang a pendant lamp in the center, but a wide one wouldn't really work here because it would stick out in this corner. That's why it was hung a bit to the side, and it looks great here too. Although both the bedroom and the children's room have glass panels facing the living room, the real source of sunlight is the skylight windows, of which there are several here. They are easy to access. You can simply reach out and open them. If you had skylight windows higher up and less accessible, remember that there are electric and solar systems that allow for remote control. And even when you're outside the house, because you can use not only a wall-mounted keypad but also an app. Here, blackout blinds are installed on the window. Very useful when you want to sleep longer, but especially helpful for parents of small children who still take naps during the day. Because just look, the moment I close these blinds, it immediately gets dim, and it's definitely easier to put a small child to sleep who thinks it's already night. Besides internal blinds, you can also install external blinds or awnings which protect against heat so the room doesn't get warmed up by the sun. They can lower the temperature by several degrees. It really makes a difference and allows you to maintain a comfortable temperature without installing air conditioning. External awnings are made of mesh that reflects sunlight while still letting light through, so they're great for rooms we use during the day to improve thermal comfort without making them too dark. On the other hand, an external roller blind really provides a lot of darkness and will also work great in winter to improve thermal insulation. And what's more, it also dampens the sound of rain well. And I also recommend mosquito nets, especially if you live near a forest or among meadows, because it's nice to be able to open the window and not worry about a swarm of incoming mosquitoes. Access to air and light, or rather the lack of it, is especially important for comfortable sleep. You can take care of this yourself, but imagine that Velux has introduced a modern climate control system to the market, which measures humidity, temperature and carbon dioxide levels based on indoor sensors and weather data, and automatically manages the blinds and windows. When it gets stuffy, the windows open automatically. When the sun is intense, the system closes the blinds. Impressive, isn't it? At the same time, remember that a rain sensor is built in a standard in all electric and solar windows by Velux, so there's nothing to worry about. When the first drops fall, the windows will close automatically. If you're interested in this topic, be sure to check out the links I'll leave in the video description, and now let me invite you to the walk-in closet. The walk-in closet is lower than the bedroom. Fortunately, there are 2 windows here, so we have more space, and you can easily stand up straight and get changed. It's just important to remember to duck when moving between the windows. And here, in this lowest part, there are drawers and shelves, while on the sides higher up, there are rods for hanging clothes. Before we move on to the children's room, I want to show you 2 more things here. First, this beautiful rounded piece of furniture, which has sliding fronts, and it's not a custom-made design at all, but a piece from a chain store. Sometimes you can find such gems. And the second thing is the window, which beautifully lights up the stairs here, and at the same time makes the ceiling higher, so even tall people won't hit their heads when going up the stairs. Children's rooms have this thing about them: they change as the child grows. Now Julia, who lives here, is only 1 year old, and for sure over time this room will have to adapt to her growing needs. There are 2 skylight windows with blinds here, just like in the bedroom, but the glass wall to the living room is much smaller on this side. A storage space was made here. Now we're back downstairs, and I'll show you the smaller bathroom and the bigger bathroom in a moment. But first we'll start with the study, which has windows facing the other side of the building. Before the renovation, before the expansion, when there was still an attic here and not an apartment, this window was here too. The ceiling was lower, just above the window, but the window stayed the same, probably just replaced with a new one. Windows like these, so beautiful. Architectural elements. We love the townhouse. And here, a specially wide seat was made here, so you can enjoy this place, so you can spend time here comfortably and relax. And at the same time, a radiator cover was also made to avoid disrupting the design. Wide countertop, suddenly extended out of nowhere. To the end, a small feather appeared. But as it usually happens, every choice comes with certain consequences. And here, definitely choosing such a wide seat meant that a dilemma appeared regarding the curtain rod. Now, when it's hung on the wall, the curtains rest against the built-in furniture. However, if it were hung from the ceiling so that the curtains would be straight, then they would stick out from the wall a lot, and that wouldn't necessarily be a desirable solution either. Sometimes you just can't choose perfectly, but I think that after all, it was worth making this seat because it's really fantastic. This armchair was already here. Back when it was still in the attic, before the apartment was made, it belonged to the previous owner and was given as a gift to Ola and Mateusz, who had it renovated. Although not by themselves, they took it to an upholsterer. Now it looks really beautiful, and it's also very comfortable. And I think that taking care of things with a history in our homes is really important. Such witnesses of history make our interiors more unique. On this side, a beautiful custom-made decorative built-in was created along the entire wall. At the top are open shelves, and at the bottom there are cabinets with fronts to hide things that don't look as nice. And look, even though there are custom-made furniture pieces on both sides, basically covering the entire walls, the room isn't forced into a very rigid role at all. If you wanted to, you could put a bed here and make it a bedroom, or you could make it a children's room, a guest room, or add more desks and create more workspace here. All of that is definitely possible, and that's exactly the kind of custom-built furniture I appreciate the most. The kind that are versatile and give us the ability to adapt the interior to our changing needs. Furniture that doesn't dictate how we have to live. A larger bathroom is actually a bathing room, very decorative, kept in an extremely relaxing color scheme. Here we have a beautiful freestanding bathtub placed at an angle right next to a large, very spacious shower shielded by glass. Here we have reflowed glass, which is very decorative and also practical. It's smooth on the shower side, and here it has these longitudinal bumps. It looks really nice. I told you about these kinds of decorative glasses in another episode once. I can link it in the description if I don't forget. But I highly recommend them to you because it's a compromise between having the light pass through to the other side and at the same time not having a regular pane of glass on which any limescale deposit is immediately noticeable. When I was arranging the bathroom, some people warned me that it would be better to place the bathtub a bit further away, to leave space here for a more solid shower enclosure because it might splash. I appreciate that a little splashing is really not a big problem at all. When water gets on the bathtub, it will just run off. Here on the side, it might actually run down the edge, but it's not like it's really a big problem. But if anyone is worried, there's a very simple trick that I highly recommend to you, which is to install a drain behind the bathtub. Not only by the shower, or if there isn't a shower and there's only a bathtub in the bathroom, you can still install a drain behind the bathtub, and then all the water that splashes around will just flow there. A gentle slope, a linear drain, just like in the shower. And it's very subtle, invisible, yet practical. And when the kids are playing, splashing everything everywhere, you don't have to worry about it. The water flows elegantly into the drain. On this side, there are two sinks with drawers underneath, and by the sinks, there are tiles up to a certain height, and these are tiles laid by Ola. Laying tiles by yourself is not trivial, but it's not extremely difficult either. If you have enough patience and a willingness to learn, you can try to do it yourself. But seriously, it's really worth being patient. In the smaller bathroom, or actually in the toilet, there's a built-in unit at the back with various storage compartments. It's flush with the water closet flush unit and looks really nice here. Next, we have a small sink and right behind it a large washing machine. And it wasn't that easy to fit into such a narrow bathroom. A full-sized appliance, but here they managed to make a recess. So the washing machine is pushed in there, and even though it sticks out a bit, it doesn't get in the way at all. Especially with a child, it's sometimes useful to do a big load of laundry, so it would be a shame to give up a larger washing machine. Above it, there's a storage compartment where the gas boiler is hidden, and right next to it, there's a small cabinet with shelves, so the space is used to the maximum. That's all for this episode. As you saw, thanks to the roof windows, a very comfortable living space for the whole family could be created in the attic. Let me know in the comments what you liked the most, and just a reminder, in the video description you'll find links to articles with information about Velux windows. Remember to subscribe, leave a thumbs up, and see you next time. Bye!